right.
Popcorn.
Check it out. Woo. That's right. Yes. Episode 22. Popcorn. On this episode, I want to just, on a lighter note, something funny that happened years ago when I was in BIDA Poly, back in the day. This should be in the 90s. Yep, boys don't tell. So yeah, I was in BIDA Poly, and back then going home was a struggle because BIDA is like Niger State, and going to school I used to go to Ido and take NSTA. And that was the worst form of transport ever. So this is how we do it. We go, let's say we're going to try and get to school on a Saturday. We go Friday night with all your things, your foodstuffs, everything. And then you stay in the park, you buy your ticket, and then they start to load the bus. It's a big ass bus. They start loading it. They start squeezing things here and there. You might be sitting down in front and your load might be somewhere in the middle and the back or somewhere. And me being over 6 foot, it was crazy because, man, sometimes I sit down with my knees touching my chin. So yeah, that was the struggle back then. NSTA was the cheapest form of transport to get to BIDA, Niger State. There are other ways. You could go to Ilorin, then from Ilorin you take a bus to BIDA, but that was long. So we used to go, all those that were living in Lagos and doing that struggle. Those that had money, they just take a 504 or station wagon. But yeah, so I was in BIDA, doing the things that, all these kids do when you just newly get into a high institution, and you're crazy about hip-hop and you're trying to find out who the hip-hop heads are in school. They were telling me, one guy, hey, MCG is one MC like that. And I found out what these guys do is not real rap. It's just, they just mime. And they just play a whole song and go, check, baby, and pretend to rap it. So when you come with your own raps, they'll be like, man, whose rap is that? And then you say, I wrote it there. No, we don't believe you. We don't believe you never wrote that. No, how can you write that? You didn't write it. So rapping live, they used to call it live rap. It wasn't very popular in school. You could come with all your bars, all your lyrics, and spit one or two things. The mic might be really bad and people might not hear what you're saying, but if they can hear what you're saying, they'll just automatically think you are doing someone else's rap. So they'll be like, okay. Now, when someone comes on stage miming Naughty by Nature with a baseball bat and everything, the whole crowd will go crazy. And then you'll be sitting backstage feeling like, yo, man, I just did my own material, original material. Nobody's showing me love. That happened to me in Too Crucial. We just sat down and was like, listen, we can't allow these guys to just keep on, trampling all over us week after week. I mean, come on. If they can mime, we can mime too, And since we were always used to writing our own bars, I mean, miming was just so easy because we actually knew the lyrics. Most of the guys that mime, they just chop mouth, and the crowd just screams because, they're over demoing. So we did a couple of that, but you know what? I didn't really like it. I was like, man, I just prefer to rap. So BIDA Poly was a trip, man. There were all sorts of people. There were hip-hop heads. There were non-hip-hop heads. There were people that just liked music. There were people who just went with the flow. I had this friend. I'm not going to mention his name. Let's just call him Item 7. Because when I was given the name Modenine, one of the chicks that gave me Modenine, her friend gave him item 7 because every time the lecturer finishes, any questions? The guy would just say, yes sir, item 7. That just means chop, chop, chop. And the guy just, shut up, you are not serious. So let's call him item 7. So he was a stubborn guy, so he used to go around saying, hey, can you boys rap? If you can rap, come and battle Modenine. He used to be the guy that used to go look for trouble. He was just a crazy guy, and he lived in Lagos too. He was a jambite just like myself. We found out that we were just a few jambites in that class. Building technology and quantity surveying. We're just a few jambites. And the other guys knew themselves. So I was like, wow, I didn't even know anything about prep. I found out some people actually did 2-year prep. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So just a few jambites, we probably weren't more than, in a class of 110, probably be like 20 or so jambites, and a few didn't show up. So let's say we were like 17 jambites. And my friend item 7 was one of them. He was a crazy guy. He's just a wild guy from Lagos, from Surulere, a wild Surulere boy, SL. And I think his dad lived in Abuja, so he was always talking about Abuja. I was just a Lagos guy, never been anywhere. How did I find myself in BIDA? Okay, this might sound stupid, but guess what happened? I was filling the form for Polytechnic Jam, and that night I remember there wasn't any light. So I was using a candle. Now, you know the little dots that you shade when you just say, okay, what polytechnic do you want to go? So I thought I shaded Ilaro. Okay, it was a code number. I thought I wrote the code number of Ilaro, but I wrote the code number of Federal Polytechnic BIDA. So when the admission form came, the admission letter came, I was like, BIDA, you're successful, blah, blah, blah. BIDA Poly, I was like, what? So I called my brother up. No, I didn't actually call him. I went to his house the next morning because I remember I was working somewhere at Reckitt and Coleman, Agbara. So on the way to work, I went to my brother's house, and because his house wasn't too far from where we were living. So I now asked him, where is Federal Polytechnic BIDA? I thought it was IDA. I know that IDA is in Benue State. But he was like, no, let's get the map out. We saw that it was in Niger State. And then he was like, you sure you want to do this? You want to go? You've never been out of Lagos by yourself. You sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, that was how my journey began. And me making that mistake and writing the code number for Federal Polytechnic BIDA instead of Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. Me making that mistake is the reason. Me making that mistake with the code number is the reason why I'm here telling my story. Because I know that if I didn't make that mistake, I probably have gone to Ilaro. I wouldn't end up rapping, because it was on my journey to BIDA Poly that I met people like, I met Ayo Animashao, and he introduced me to Solo D. And Solo D started Aftermath, later changed the name to SWAT Root. And that's how I started, doing my thing. I'm sure if I went to Ilaro, I probably wouldn't even be jumping on stage, rapping. I would have just been, because it's close to Lagos, I'll just be shuttling back and forth, just a normal guy who likes hip hop. I'm sure I wouldn't be doing this. So I'll say that little mistake changed my life. That little code, that God has a funny way of, blessing people. Now you might think it's a bad thing or it's a misfortune, but check it out, man. You just look at the bigger picture. The reason why I feel that thing wrong was because, God had, He had a mission for me, man, to complete, and that was to bring you guys good music. So yeah, now my friend item 7 was a crazy guy. So when we used to go home, right, most of the time we spend all our money. And most students don't have any money by the time they finish their exams. I remember the day that I think it was our HOD or someone. He kept us in school doing it like I know he got that contract because we were building technology students. He got a contract to build a school wall, and he made us build the school wall. And he said, "Hey, you're gonna get points for this. If you don't do it, you're going to fail." So we had to build the school wall. All of us were hungry. There was no food, and he had a farm. He had yam, he had cassava, he had corn and all that. And then he tied this juju red and black thing. One of our guys in school, he just took the juju and threw it on the floor and said, "Oh boy, leave this thing, or leave that story." We chopped the yam, chop everything. That's how we survived. So yeah, this is the original story I wanted to tell. We're going home, right? And most students don't have money. There's a place called Esso where students take Sole. Sole is when you stand on the roadside and it's like hitchhiking. Any car that passes or any lorry or whatever you see, trailer, you just thumbs up, stop the trailer, and he might stop and, he might be going to Ibadan or somewhere. We hitch a ride from BIDA to Ibadan, then we get to Lagos. Or he might be going to Lagos and boom, you're in Lagos without paying a dime. Sometimes they take a little money from you. Sometimes they just say, just hop on. So there were so many students it's a stretch. There's so many students there. And then we see this official brand new 504. It was a station wagon, I think. I mean, this was definitely an army car. And the guy was coming and we knew that it was an army car. And then all of a sudden my friend item 7 just flagged the army car down. I was like, in my mind, I was like, "Are you crazy? Why are you flagging that army car? That's a senior officer's car." He was like, "I beg, I don't care. I'll flag anything down." Funny enough, the army car, it was just, I thought it was going to pass us, but he just went and he stopped. Then this dude, tall guy, just comes out, boning in his face. "Who flagged me down?" Man, this guy wasn't joking, man. He looked scary. So the other students, they did a Tekashi 6ix9ine on us, man. One of the guys said, "It is these two boys, it is this." And everybody just took 3 steps backwards. So it was just me and my friend, item 7, standing there. And then the guy just said, "Are you people the ones that stopped me?" I was like, okay, I might as well go down with the ship. I was like, yeah, we did. The guy just looked at us. "Where are you going?" And then we're like, "We are going to Lagos." He just looked at us. "How many of you? 2 of you?" He said, "Yes." He just looked at us. He said, "Are those your bags?" We didn't have many bags. I think we had just like two or 3 bags. "Are those your bags?" I was like, "Yes, sir." Then he just told his driver, "Take the bags, put inside the boot. We're going to Lagos." And then that's when some of the other students said, "Hey, sir, I'm going to Lagos too." He said, "Shut up." So that's how we started riding with this. I think he was a major. He was in front. His driver was driving. And me and item 7 were at the back seat. So he done said, "You boys, how are you? Start telling me stories about your school. Just be talking like you're talking to each other. Tell us stories. Let me entertain myself. It's going to be a long ride to Lagos, probably 8 hours. Usually when we're taking public transport, it's like 12 hours. It's like 12 hours taking public transport. I think we got to Lagos in 6 hours. And funny enough, we stopped somewhere. That was the car. It was the best pounding jam of my life. I've been passing that area for a long time. I never knew that joint existed. So this major, he stopped at one joint and he ordered pounded yam with assorted meat. He said, "Boys, order food." But we were just trying to be modest. We ordered rice with meat. He just said, "That rice with meat is not going to be good for you people. Order pounded yam, the same thing that I'm eating, I want you people to eat." So, okay, sir. So we ended up eating pounded yam. When we got back into the car, me and my friend, we slept off, man. Pounded yam was heavy. So, got to Lagos, and I told him where I was going, Ijaniki, and he was like, "That's very far." So he gave me transport money, but it was already, getting a little bit late, and there was a lot of traffic. So I decided to spend the night in Surulere. at my friend's place, warm bath, good food, and then watched some TV and crashed. Woke up in the morning, went home. That's just one of those days. I remember when I wasn't too lucky, when my lecturer kept me in school till like the 24th of December. He kept me in school till the 24th of December. He approved my project on the 24th, so I left school on the 24th, 5 p.m. I got to Lagos on Christmas Day, dusty from head to toe. And my mom almost cried, man. I looked like a homeless guy. But man, that's just the struggle, man. Something gotta give, man. And guess what? I ended up here. I didn't do too bad, did it? I'll see you guys next week with another story. Popcorn.